What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another news video. Now there's no rest for the wicked or for Wrestlelamia. So join us now as we bring you the wildest wrestling news and rumours you need to know, including WWE's Backstage's non-punk ratings plunge, how the Viking Raiders got their name back, 2 outrageous wrestling items available for purchase, Kevin Owens reveals how he got to use the stunner, AEW Dynamite Chicago show stumbles, an interesting theory on The Fiend, new AEW tag team's identity revealed, and Batista is thirsty on Twitter. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more videos like this. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the first story as we look at the Punkless Plunge. Now for those who are wondering how Backstage did without CM Punk on Tuesday night, the answer is poorly compared to the week that he was on. PW Insider's Mike Johnson noted, the 26th November episode of WWE Backstage on FS1 brought in 121,000 viewers, down from last week's 180,000. So without CM Punk, they lost a piece of the audience. Yeah, and that's a big chunk too, as this week's audience is 66% of last week's viewership, which is obviously much more than a piece of the audience. Next up, Chris Jericho launches his own champagne. Looks like Le Champion Chris Jericho's catchphrase "a little bit of the bubbly" has become so successful that apparently the AEW World Heavyweight Champion felt obligated to release his own signature line of champagne, available at littlebitofthebubbly.com. We absolutely love that URL, by the way. The official AEW press release revealed, Chris Jericho, the world champion of AEW, and Stephen Amell, star of the CW superhero series Arrow, and founder of Knocking Point Wines, have teamed up to create a little bit of the bubbly, the new official sparkling wine of AEW. The inspiration was sparked by Chris Jericho's one-man backstage celebration after winning the first AEW World Champion title on September 1st, 2019, when he revealed a bottle of sparkling wine. Subsequently, his
"Oh, a little bit of the bubbly"
catchphrase became an instant viral sensation, resulting in countless memes and millions of views worldwide. According to Ringside News, the demand was apparently great, so much in fact that champagne connoisseurs couldn't get to it. As soon as Jericho announced that littlebitofthebubbly.com is now active and selling Y2J's own brand of bubbly, this drew a ton of attention. In fact, so many fans logged in that it completely crashed the site. The website for Chris Jericho's bubbly immediately crashed. For the next 30 minutes as of this writing, we still can't get it to come up. It seems to be legit and made by Knocking Point Wines, but we just can't seem to pull up the website. Well, as soon as that website is fully up and running and there's some stock, Wrestlelamia will be putting his order in. Perhaps we'll open up a bottle when we get to 1 million subscribers. I will be kinda disappointed if it tastes like Canadian moose piss though. But regardless of whatever it tastes like, it could be a good gift for fans, and there are some other great gifts just in time for the holidays. Now wrestling fans can be notoriously difficult to buy for come the holidays, but now the WWE has a must-have item for any fan of The Fiend. WWE.com's shop section is now selling The Fiend Bray Wyatt replica entrance lanterns, affordably priced at $99.99. The item is described as follows: modelled after the lantern that The Fiend Bray Wyatt ominously carries to the ring, this LED lamp replica is a must-have for superfans, cosplayers, and collectors. This item should make for some great table conversation as the family gathers to celebrate the holiday season. We can't wait to see YouTube videos of fans showing off their lanterns for grandma and grandpa. They might be shocked as to what wrestling has become. Next up, AEW Dynamite Chicago show stumbles. While Le Champion champagne sales seem to be taking off, it looks like AEW Dynamite Chicago show had trouble filling the seats. According to a report at Ringside News, as you can see from the picture below, AEW Dynamite had a majority of the hard camera side bare. Obviously they moved people around to make sure that there were fans on camera. Now we bet you most people in the comments will say this is still a new company, and yes it is. There might be others that suggest that this picture was taken an hour before the show. Well, that could be true as there's no timestamp on there, nor has the time been verified on Twitter, but it's gotta be towards the beginning of the show as you can see Le Champion's celebration going on in the ring. It also didn't help that WWE held 4 events in Chicago earlier this week, Perhaps fans are just burnt out from wrestling there. Next up, how Eric and Ivar conquered Mr. McMahon. Fans were dismayed when NXT's War Raiders became the Viking Experience following their debut on Raw. The story of how Eric and Ivar persuaded Mr. McMahon to let them drop the name is a fascinating look into the inner workings of the WWE. During an experience on Corey Graves' podcast, Eric revealed, "We're ringside. Ivar comes out, a graphic comes out on the screen, and there's a cartoon Viking guy and it says Viking Experience. At first it said Berserkers, then we were the War Raiders, and then Viking Experience. We watched the screen change to this and we looked at Hunter and said, are they messing with us? He just shook his head and told us to go see Vince. We went and spoke to Vince. At this point, because it's so late in the day, we weren't even going to approach the subject of Ivar and Eric. We needed to tackle the Viking Experience name. We caught Vince as he was going somewhere else and we pleaded our case about the name. It sounded like a Disney name and there were 10 names we gave him. The last one we gave him was Viking Raiders and he kind of paused on that one. He said they would introduce us as Viking Experience and if they didn't feel it, they would rename us to something else. But he also put over how much he loves the television show Vikings and he loves Vikings in general and mentioning our wrestling gear, our armor and Viking details from history. So we felt confident that he liked us and our work. We were happy to hopefully in the weeks to come to that tag team name change. I wonder what would have happened if we landed on time and maybe we could have had more input. Thank God the next week came and we were the Viking Raiders. The Viking Raiders is the original name we pitched when we were coming into NXT, funny enough. The idea of Mr. McMahon watching the History Channel's Vikings is mind-boggling, as Vinnie Mac is notorious for spending little time doing anything outside the WWE. Next up, an interesting theory on The Fiend. The Fiend is arguably the most popular wrestler in wrestling today. Bray Wyatt's transformation into the ungodly persona of The Fiend has captured the WWE Universe's attention ever since he debuted at SummerSlam, defeating Finn Balor. But one fan has a theory though, and it involves everyone The Fiend has feuded with ever since he debuted. Since arriving in WWE, The Fiend has faced Finn, Seth and Bryan. Finn turned heel, Seth is turning heel, and Daniel Bryan is going from heel to face. Whoever he touches seems to have a switch in personality. It may be a coincidence, but maybe not. Just a thought. This could coincide with the words hurt and healed pictured on his gloves. He's hurt Rollins and Balor, but healed Daniel Bryan. What do you guys think of the theory? Do you think whoever The Fiend is going to be feuding with next will turn as well? Next up, when Stone Cold allowed KO to use the Stunner. Steve Austin's Stone Cold Stunner is an iconic move in wrestling, one protected largely for Austin's use and one some fans thought they'd never see another wrestler use. So just how did Kevin Owens gain the Texas Rattlesnake's blessing for using the finisher? During an appearance on After the Bell, Owens revealed, "I had a conversation with him, I want to say 2016. This is the thing, people were doing the Stunner. You have someone do it in a random match as something they were doing and that's it. Nobody was using it as a trademark. I had seen guys do it here and there, but not to the extent that I felt it should be used. The Stunner in my head was something that could be a great way for me to try and be polarizing. So I went to Steve and asked him if I could use it and he was very happy that I asked him. More than anything, he was happy that someone asked him because he was like, you want to use it as a finisher? I said yes, and then he went, God, it's about time. I can't believe no one's tried this yet. I can't believe no one has come and asked about using the Stunner. It's a great finish. He then went on and said some people used it and it meant nothing, and then tried to go through other channels and it was shut down. So I wasn't able to start using it at that point. Even though I snuck it into one of my matches with Roman Reigns, which led to a funny interaction between me and Steve on his podcast later on when he tried how to use the Stunner properly because I couldn't beat Roman with it. I've had Steve's blessing for a long time, and I was waiting for the right time. This year felt like the time to use it. Some people love it, some people really hate it. I'm fine with it, I love doing it. Next up, a new AEW tag team's identity has been revealed. Now we are a little bit puzzled on why AEW chose to do this, as they had a random tag team that attacked Cody on last night's Dynamite. But who were they? According to PW Insider's Mike Johnson, the Butcher and the Blade who debuted tonight on AEW Dynamite attacking Cody are former Impact Wrestling star Braxton Sutter and Andy Williams, the lead singer hardcore punk band Every Time I Die. They have been teaming for some time on the independents since Sutter exited Impact. The woman who joined the duo, Ali the Bunny, is married to Sutter. And our final story, Batista is getting thirsty on Twitter. Are he and Brooke hooking up? No, we're not talking about a romance between the Animal and Brooke Hogan, but Hollywood star Dave Batista and WWE star Dana Brooke. The two appeared to be flirting on Twitter, with Big Dave saying hi, then telling Brooke, "I see you getting those squats in." Brooke replied, "I mean, I do work out. You know, a good gym. Wrestlemania is in Tampa." The ever helpful Batista informed Dana, "I actually do. Just so happens that I have my own gym. Hashtag Lions Den. 2 squat racks, here it is. It also has an upstairs with a cage and mats as well. Evident any jiu-jitsu?" Whilst that really sounds like a plug-in for his gym, both Batista and Brooke are single, and Dana seems to like Twitter for getting a hookup. I'm all for a good dating game. Twitter equals Tinder for me, I guess. Let's take this on air. Maybe a little Skype or FaceTime date. Do you think the two will hook up? Let us know in the comments down below. And what you think of these other stories. Again, subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Check out Wrestlelamia if you have some time. And I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.